जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. We are reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, chapter 5, canto 5, chapter 12, chapter entitled Rahuguna Converses with Jada Bharat, text number 9. Please repeat after me. Evam niruktam kshiti shabda vrittam asan निधानात् परमाणवो ये अविद्यया मनसा कल्पितास् ते येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः। एवं निरुक्तं क्षितिशब्दवृत्तं असन्निधानात् परमाणवो ये अविद्यया मनसा कल्पितास्ते येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः। एवं निरुक्तं क्षितिशब्दवृत्तम् असन्निधानात् परमाणवो ये अविद्यया मनसा कल्पितास्ते येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः। एवं निरुक्तं क्षितिशब्दवृत्तम् असन्निधानात् परमाणवो ये अविद्यया मनसा कल्पितास्ते येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः। एवं thus niruktam falsely described kshiti shabda of the word earth, vrittam, the existence, asat, not real, nidhanat, from the dissolution, parama anavaha, atomic particles, ye, all of which, avidyaya, because of less intelligence, manasa, in the mind, kalpitaha, imagined, te, they, yesham, of which, samuhena, by the aggregate, kritaha, made, visheshaha, the particulars. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One may say that varieties arise from planet Earth itself. However, although the universe may temporarily appear to be the truth, it ultimately has no real existence. The earth was originally created by a combination of atomic particles, but these particles are impermanent. Actually, the atom is not the cause of the universe, although some philosophers think so. It is not a fact that the varieties found in this material world simply result from atomic juxtaposition or combination. Purport. Those who follow the atomic theory think that the protons and the electrons of atoms combine in such a way as to bring all material existence into being. However, the scientists fail to discover the cause of atomic existence itself. Under these circumstances, we cannot accept that the atom is the cause of the universe. Such theories are advanced by unintelligent people. According to real intelligence, the real cause of cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Lord. Janmadi asya yataha. He is the original cause of all creation. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. Krishna is the original cause, sarva karana karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Krishna is the cause of atoms, the material energy. Bhumi rapo nalo vayuhu kham mano buddhire vacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtadha. The ultimate cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and only those in ignorance try to find out other causes by posing different theories. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'm very grateful to be amongst all of you this morning. After Damodar Prasad Prabhu put me in the forum and some WhatsApp groups of the Zurich Center, I am emotionally involved because I get updates every day, whatever is happening, I read the posts. So I feel, although I'm not here, I kind of feel some way part of this community. It's a sweet group of devotees. And nice to see all of you again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So this verse, a very difficult verse, a very difficult chapter in the sense it does not exactly fully fit into the mood of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, where when you read so many different pastimes, there is a lot of sweet, emotional talks and discussions which take place where a person gets more involved, as against the discussion which is coming here, which is so technical in nature. And interestingly, it is being spoken by Jada Bharat. Jada in Sanskrit means inert. And Jada was an adjective given to that person. That because he was so dumb, so dull. So in most Indian languages like Gujarati, Hindi, Marathi, Sanskrit, I don't know about the South Indian, but Jada, this refers to something which is inert, which has lot of inertia. Like you call a tree as Jada or a rock as Jada. So Bharat here, who was lifting the palanquin of Rahuguna, King Rahuguna, appeared as if so dumb, so dull, who does not understand, who cannot respond to the normal emotions of life, who cannot respond to the instructions, who cannot respond to common sense of human beings around. And therefore this adjective is given Jada. Like we say, silly something. During Prabhupada's time, there was a devotee, Peter, whom other devotees would call as Crazy Peter. And he became famous with that, Crazy Peter, Crazy Peter. Did you see him? Whom? Crazy Peter. Like that. So Crazy Peter is not a name, but it's an adjective given to the person like that. So similarly in that manner, Jada Bharat. So Jada Bharat appeared so unintelligent that Rahuguna had to criticize him for his behavior. And interestingly, then Jada Bharat, now he is speaking last two chapters, I think chapter number 11 and 12, lot of philosophical concepts which are very technical in nature. So imagine a person who appears so stupid, so foolish, he starts talking these kind of talks. Atomic particles, the origin of universe, the origin of the body. So it's like someone who appears stupid is directly using these very technical terms which is used by scientists. In Vedic literatures, there are 6 kinds of systems to understand the truth which are explained, which are known as Shata Darshan, or 6 kinds of darshans. So generally we refer to darshan in our common colloquial language. We refer to darshan means seeing the Lord. But what can you see? How can you perceive more of the Lord just with your eyes? It's always limited. Let's say you are alone in the temple, staying with the deities. Most devotees would not feel that, oh, we are 3, 4, 5, 6 and 4 Shaligram Shilas, right? So 10. So if you are alone, will you feel, yeah, we are 11 of us here? Most will not feel like that. The fact is, we cannot take our concept of darshan is very limited, and therefore in the Vedic system the concept of darshan is defined with an understanding. So 6 systems are basically 6 methods in which you can perceive the truth. So darshan means to see or to perceive rather. So 6 ways you can perceive. So there is yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Sankhya, Purva Mimams and Uttar Mimams. So Nyaya was by Gautama Rishi, Vaisheshika was by Kanada, Sankhya by Kapila, who also comes in the 3rd canto, Yoga by Patanjali, Purva Mimams by Jaimini, and Uttar Mimams by Vyasdev, who compiled the Vedic literature, or Vedanta Sutra is considered as Uttar Mimams. So, the second system, I'll just briefly speak about that. Nyaya means how logically you can understand the truth. So, you must have heard this concept of neti, neti, no, this is not, this is not, this is not. So, that whole theory of trying to understand the truth by eliminating what is impermanent is the Nyaya concept. How long will this paper last? How long will this building last? No, that means this is not the truth. How long will you and me last? That means this is not the truth. So you eliminate naiti, na iti. And there are so many ways of the concept of how to understand that what you understand is actually truth, is the nyaya, the logic. Then comes Vaisheshika, the theory of breaking down all the elements of the universe to their fundamental core, what is called as the atomic theory, which is what he is referring. Something like a Vaisheshika Sutras. If you have read Vaisheshika Sutras, this is how it analyzes. So instead of seeing the universe as a whole, which becomes very bewildering, because when you see a man with a certain complexion, certain kinds of clothes, certain kinds of hair, certain kind of looks, beautiful, ugly, white, black, brown, whatever skin color is, we get attracted or we get repelled by that. Because all we see is forms. So Vaisheshika Sutra tries to approach the truth in such a way that if you are going to only see the forms and analyze the forms, then certain building will appear beautiful, certain will not appear beautiful. But essentially they say it is just a combination of certain bricks and stones, or rather you break down that further more and then you bring it down, it's combination of molecules and atoms which are put together, and therefore they have different properties. So for someone who is an expert in chemistry, he doesn't see metal as metal. At the end of the day, it is just some atoms and molecules combining together which make gold, which make silver. Once you disintegrate nothing else, there is no gold, there is no silver, there is no diamond, there is no wood, there is no nothing, water. It's all chemical elements. So Vaisheshika Sutras talk like that. After disintegration of the elements, what remains? That is the truth. Then comes Sankhya, where the concept of God is accepted in a theory that there is God, there is a soul and there is super soul. There is this material nature in which you work and you are bound to the material nature. But this is temporary, and that analysis takes place. How the interaction of mind with its pancha karmendriya, the gyanendriyas, the knowledge acquiring, the working senses, mind, intelligence, they come together and they work, and how they work and how they delude us. All our experiences are just a combination of mind and senses and matter interacting. So Sankhya philosophy analyzes that way. At least it brings mind into picture, intelligence into picture, super soul into picture. Then comes yoga. That even if you don't want all these philosophical concepts, you can still experience the truth just through your body, by breathing properly, by doing proper exercise, by doing proper meditation. The concept of Shabda or Nad, it is explained in the Hatha Yoga and the Yoga Sutras. So we covered how much? 4. How many 4? Then comes Purvamimamsa, the whole concept of rituals. By putting something in fire, by chanting certain mantras, this thing happens. So the concept of invoking the powers of gods and demigods and the devis and the devtas, and through mantras and mudras and all of that, this is all part of Purvamimamsa, Yagya theories. Someone can perceive the truth only through that also. And then comes Uttar Mimamsa, the Vedanta Sutra, which speaks about where the Upanishads and the Puranas, everything. Specifically Vedanta Sutra, it comes into picture, which is the most metaphysical theory amongst the 6 systems, where it starts discussing about the soul and trying to seek the truth in that way, like that. Anyways, this was just a small theory, but Rahuguna appears to speak the concepts of what are exactly present in the Vaisheshika Sutras. Last few years there has been a lot of development of science in this exact concept. And every single month, if you are following something in physics, after the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, there is groundbreaking theories which are coming up. Some of which very, very clearly say that this universe is not real. Very startling thing they say. And why they say it's not real? Because there is a definition of reality in science. What Rahuguna is speaking, or Jadabharat is speaking to Rahuguna, he's saying the same thing. That although the universe is temporarily appearing to be the truth, ultimately it has no existence. From the concept of science, there is a meaning to what is considered real. Real means that which you can define well. That which is fixated something. You can see with your eyes or you can perceive through the senses, that is considered real. Now when you say perceive, means that which can be measured, right? If I say I can see someone, that means I'm measuring you, my distance, your distance and my distance, everything I can hear, so I can hear how much are you hearing, so there is a decibel, there is a concept of measure. Perception means there is measure, there is a position, that here is the person and this is the size, here is the sound coming from, this is the decibel level. So, anything which can be located in a particular place and can be defined well with its properties is considered real. If you cannot locate a thing properly and you cannot define its characteristics properly, so according to science, it cannot be classified as real. This is a very important thing to understand. So that simply means something which has a property which is undefinable and it has a position which cannot be determined, you cannot classify it as real, although it may exist in some manner. So this is what science is speaking, and if I don't take science and all those words, this is exactly what Vedas are speaking. This is exactly what Vedanta Sutra is saying. What you see is not exactly real. It appears to be real. So many theories have been propounded by modern scientists about this concept of why it is not real and so on. But they have not been able to understand what they are thinking as this universe is simply a combination of atoms, and this is why the whole concept of artificial intelligence, the root or the basis of artificial intelligence is just that. It is an assumption that just certain atoms and molecules are coming together and then creating life by itself, which is not true. Recently someone just said something just like let's say just a mobile phone with its camera. We take pictures, but what is this whole thing? It is just a combination of certain elements. Mankind has done great achievements from thousands of years ago, just playing with some sticks and stones according to modern theory. Or whenever the universe began, it began with some simplicity. If you read our Vedic literatures also, the war and the other things were done with bows and arrows. Today it is so high. Such great technology is there. We have achieved so much in terms of manipulation of earth, fire, air, all these elements, even sound. There is great achievement done in all these things. So from that concept, it is a great journey which mankind has attained. However, this has, from a Vedic concept, you do not negate the truth itself. Means there is some missing element, or there is some element called Atma or soul, that is always considered. But science is not able to consider that. And that is why they think that one day the robots or the AI will become smart. And of course it will be smart, but The element of Atma will always be missing. AI cannot, uh, although it can have a consciousness which is given, which is coming from someone, like humans have done a program and so on, it can, and then it can start developing its own program. So then that makes the line very thin, that if the robots start mining the resources themselves and then they create their own metals in a nicer way, and then they make their own programs, develop their own programs, all these things is possible. But the concept of feeling, the concept of intuition, these things are just not possible. So in our Vedic literatures, therefore, Paramatma becomes a very interesting and important feature for a living entity. When you talk of artificial intelligence, you don't need a Paramatma, right? Because what will be the role of Paramatma if the robot can just... It's like combinations. It is like how to understand the scriptures well. So if you put the 12th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in ChatGPT, it will bring you 6 concepts, 6 theories, and it will just... very fast it just comes out with things. But that is just playing with grammar, the words, and trying to extract the psychological understanding. However, there is one kind of understanding which is beyond all of this, which comes by the revelation of Paramatma itself. By the revelation of Paramatma. So, for that, now Paramatma is not going to reveal to something which is jada. That's not possible. Of course, life can manifest, like Hiranyakashipu manifested from the pillar. So anything can happen, all those things are there. But an inert matter or jada prakriti is not going to react that way. It will never violate its properties. So, the role of Paramatma gets diminished when we talk of this concept of artificial intelligence. Or even in this matter, in this discussion, Jada Bhadrat is telling the exact same thing. That there are philosophers, there are people who say that everything is coming from the atom, but atom is not the cause of the universe. This is exactly what modern science has been struggling since a while. When they said that atom is the fundamental particle, then they said atom is not the fundamental particle. And they came to something which is called as the string theory. Has any one of you heard about it? String theory. So atom has subatomic particles, electron, proton, neutron, it has quarks. They kept breaking and finding what is that which is giving positive energy to proton, and why we say proton has positive charge and electron has negative charge. What is that? Neutron has neutron charge. What is that which is giving the charge? So they kept digging more and more and more. So they have come with a theoretical concept that actually there is nothing called positive, there is nothing called negative at the more core fundamental level. There is just one kind of particle which they called as a string, which is a very tiny theoretical particle which vibrates. If it vibrates vertically, then it is, the different kinds of vibrations are attributed with different energies. So positive means it is vibrating in a certain way. So imagine it is just a string. You take a rubber string and vibrate vertically. So you'll call it proton. You keep it horizontal, vibrate it, you'll call it electron. You keep it diagonally, you vibrate it, it is neutron. So different vibration patterns are considered as electron, proton, neutron, but in essence, they are not independent, unique particles. So that's where they say that similar kind of concept comes in the Advaita Vedanta, that everything is just one. There is no essential variety. The variety is in the perception or in the matter in which that same unique that individual thing vibrates. And that is giving all the properties to everything that exists. And they are coming up with, at present they say that it operates in 11 dimensions. So if you read the Vedic theory, it speaks about vibrations and frequencies in 64 dimensions. So it's interesting how they calculate all these things. So, but more important here it is saying is, the atom is not the cause of the universe. All the varieties found in this world simply are not resulting because some atoms are just coming together. That's what is called juxtaposition. Some things come together and therefore some variety. No, it is just not that. There are certain hidden things. So in science there is a concept called biocentrism, where it says that there is consciousness as an element which drives the creation of the world or understanding of the world itself, which now modern physicists also are saying consciousness to be something. And when you read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and so many other Vedic literatures, that also speaks of these things. That it is consciousness which creates the world, it is consciousness which drives the world, it is consciousness which, where you perceive the world in a certain way only because of consciousness. Like a human being perceiving the world, an animal perceiving the world, a ghost perceiving the world, insect perceiving the world is so different. And based on their perception, all the laws are designed for that particular person based on its perception. So similarly, there are laws which we have designed in the universe based on our perception. So consciousness is always, when you read Vedic literature, consciousness is defined as the fundamental core of anything and everything. But because when consciousness is trapped within the matter, like once we are trapped within this body, it is so difficult to perceive consciousness without it. Means even when you see a person, you cannot perceive the Atma. You will see a moving person. Of course, you know what is the difference between a dead body and a living body, but it is so difficult to perceive the soul. Still you see, oh, the body is beautiful, the body is kind to me, the body is good, body is compassionate. We attribute different relationships based on experiences we get. It's so difficult to perceive the soul. Even for a living entity, it is so difficult to perceive. Although we also speak about it, it's so much very difficult. Even if we are involved in devotional service, it is very, very difficult. Essentially, one can perceive or come closer to the perception of soul or super soul if one is able to sit silently throughout his life, where the interaction with matter is minimal. And that is not possible because we want to indulge with matter. So like for a person who is continuously busy, let's say, with one thing after other every 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, this task, that task to accomplish, to achieve something, filled with ambition and desires, such a person for such a person it is impossible to perceive the truth. You can learn the truth, like you can read Bhagavatam 10 hours, 20 hours, but you need so much time to contemplate. Just keep silent. Let the matter, let the vibration of the mind become still. I'm speaking in physics terms based on this thing. But otherwise, when we say calm down, be peaceful, what does that mean? Mind is continuously vibrating, oscillating. There are so many electrical discharge which keep happening in the brain. So when a person, this has been established, when a person does sadhana or deep meditation, what happens? The electrical discharge in the brain becomes very organized. Right now it's functioning here and there with all the senses. It becomes very streamlined, very concentrated. So when the mind's vibration becomes less, when the intelligence becomes peaceful, the senses become peaceful, then the original sounds in which we were created, that is the whole concept of nada, which comes in the Hatha Yoga by Svatmana. If you are interested, you should read that chapter. It is extremely fascinating. Then you start hearing divine sounds. You start hearing the sounds of creation. Those are things which in Bhakti Yoga are spoken in different manner. Is when we say Krishna speaks through the heart. It's nothing but that your own sensory vibrations have got minimized, and now you can hear the vibrations of the grander creation, the vibrations generated by Paramatma, which are just absolute in nature, means that which are beneficial to us. So, the more we are dependent on senses for things, it is actually very, very difficult to perceive the truth. So this whole chapter is just involved in all these kind of discussions, one after other. Everything is imagination. So those who come to this point, that is what Jada Bharat is telling Rahuguna, that you are so caught up in this idea that you are the king, and you cannot think of your identity beyond that. At our own stage, we may be caught up in our own services in some manner, leader of some place, leader of some department, leader of some service, and that becomes such a strong identity that we cannot let go of that identity. And we feel that that identity is adding worth to us. That itself is an illusion. It is impossible that any identity which you get from this material world can add any worth to you. No. You can use that identity for the sake of service. All those things are possible. But that is not your true worth. So devotees who understand, that is what Jada Bharat is going to, or also trying to explain to Rahuguna, that you are simply a spirit soul. Although the soul has nothing to do with this creation, it gets entrapped by the intense senses and its perceptions. The whole concept of Bhakti Yoga or any kind of yoga is just to deal with this one thing. Break your perceptions. Essentially, there is nothing we need to achieve to please the Lord. There is essentially nothing we can do which can bring Him ecstasy from an achievement sense. So that does not mean that we don't strive to do something. No, we do strive to do things, but not with an understanding that this is going to please Him. With an understanding that if I don't do this, I'll start doing something else which is not beneficial to me. So I must purify my senses, engage my senses. And in that, Krishna will be pleased in that mood that, oh, he's trying to purify his senses. Not that, oh, I'm so happy you distributed 10 books. I'm so happy you raised 1 million. I'm so happy you did. No, Krishna does not need that. But he'll be happy with that you strive to purify yourself by doing this, Okay, you are purifying yourself. You are engaging yourself. Ultimately, you want to reach to me in some manner. When Krishna sees that, he is pleased with that effort. That is why he says, the results don't matter to me. Because what result? Every person is going to do unique things in their unique way, depending on their unique combination of senses, and that doesn't matter. No big deal. So it is amazing that how he chastises. The moment Rahuguna becomes a bit more humble, that, oh, you are speaking like a sage. Jada Bharat immediately starts chastising him, admonishing him. Till that time, Jada Bharat is not speaking anything to Rahuguna. He's thinking, okay, you are exercising your power, that's fine. But then he criticizes him. So yeah, one of the very unusual chapters of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, very, very technical and scientific in nature. Anyone who is a physicist or that kind of a person will love this chapter for sure. So many, I can actually speak 3-4 theories just based on this from a scientific perspective. Biocentricism, Bell's theorem, double slit experiment. So many things are there aligned to just these few verses on the concept of atoms and so on. Anyways, I'll stop here. Thank you all very much. Any questions or comments? We have about, I think, 10 minutes.
Thank you so much for wonderful insights. And now I will be very honest. I want to put the question because I'm searching for a right answer. After some years of trying to do devotional service, I'm always questioning what is my real relation to the Lord. What is real or I'm imagining? This is what I'm putting always the question. And what is even more important for me is how I could be sure how the Lord reciprocates with my try to do something pleasing for Him. So still I cannot find anything firm that I could say this is it. So some kind of inner core belief that I'm sure about. So how I could, is that okay or is many things that are wrong?
No, it's a part of journey of one's. Like let's say if someone is trying to understand the truth only from an empirical way, which is what Rahuguna and Jada Bharata are discussing, very empirical way. Like a scientist. Scientists also in the journey, there are moments they get confused. They get some solution, but it does not fit properly. And then they work for years together. And then something else clicks. And they keep on building the theory. So it's a journey. Like from a science point of view, Einstein's theory of relativity and quantum physics are totally opposite theories. And both are absolutely true. Like both work perfectly well, but they do not fit well. They are total opposite theories. And that's why they are trying to bring another theory which combines these both. So even in an empirical world, this kind of confusion happens for devotees also. As we go in our journey ahead, the more sincerely we do things, we will discover things. So it's not first of all, it's not a problem if we are not 100% thoroughly sure. Even when we think we are thoroughly sure, we cannot be sure that we are thoroughly sure. Because I have seen that some people who are thoroughly sure after 20, 30 years, some situation happens in their life in such a manner that their faith gets shaken up, disturbed. So it is like that. So that's one thing. Another thing I would say, instead of thinking to please the Lord, or let's say, pleasing the Lord and also pleasing ourselves in the sense that working on our own discovery, both are one and the same, almost one and the same. Bhagavatam says 3 things happen simultaneously: purification of the consciousness, understanding of the spirit soul, and understanding of Paramatma. All these things, detachment of this world also. These 3 things happen simultaneously. Once you purify yourself, you automatically get detached and you also understand the truth. These 3 things happen simultaneously. So, again, thinking that there is nothing we can do in this world which can please God. But what can please God? That we are trying to purify ourselves. We are trying to engage in something. So even, let's say in that manner, if you are not convinced, if one is not convinced that Jagannath is the truth, or let's say Krishna, you're not convinced, no problem. use the mantras, use the processes to purify one's mind. As I said, right? Let the mind become peaceful, calm. Get deeper into the aspects of character development. Automatically we will understand the truth. So although I read so many pastimes, I may not relish it. I may not even relate with it. See, many people, they consider these stories or these methods which are told in the Bhagavatam and the other literatures, they consider it as theories. But at one point of time, thousands of years ago, people were literally doing this. Today we think that this is a theory and practical is this. No, this was actually practical at one point of time. Exactly, people were living this thing. And that is why, and because it was ideal or good, it is being discussed in the books. Today we are so away from these theories that we consider that it's a concept. It is not actually a concept. It is a live action to be performed by us. We will purify ourselves and we will understand the truth. So even if you are not convinced, there is no problem. Pray intensely. If not to the deity, suppose you are not in the temple, keep seeking in the heart. As long as you are seeking in the heart, things reveal. How do scientists get so many solutions? They are constantly meditating on some theory again and again, and suddenly certain things strike. So that is the feature of what Paramatma says. When you are meditating unto something, the universe itself reveals. And it will reveal. So no one can, until the point, forget about all of us. Even those who are fully realized pure devotees, they get confused. That is why they say, right, the Lord is achintya, inconceivable. Why do they say inconceivable? Because they get confused sometimes. Lord Shiva and Brahma got confused when they saw Narsingh Chaturdashi recently. They said, oh my God, we never saw this form. Now who will talk to this form? Who will interact? They also got bewildered. So even though we become pure devotee, this journey will never end. But keep digging. Don't lose hope in your own efforts. As long as the efforts are alive, you are living. You will experience. Yes, Mother.
Thank you very much. My question was, you made this point on identification, that sometimes we so strongly identify with the service that we think this is our identity, but so much more beyond that. And I remember last December I had asked His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj this question, that to move and do your service nicely, to move things, you need a certain sense of association with the service. You have to have certain sense of ownership, that I really want to do this for Srila Prabhupada. And then at the same time, we're supposed to be detached. So sometimes it seems like a paradox. And then Maharaj had said that detachment comes from your ability to let go. So when the time comes, when you can let go, that means you're detached. So it was a very significant instruction. But I was thinking, I don't know when the time will come to let go. And when the time comes to let go, if I'm not letting go, then I'm just fixed. And so it's like also we know that at the time of death, you will get to know how Krishna conscious you really are. So similarly, I sometimes feel that when we are feeling this sense of, in a way it's passion for service, we associate and we are trying to grow in service and render service. But then until the time comes to let go, we don't really know. So how should we always still somehow check ourselves?
So this is very true, that if you are 100%, you cannot do any institutional service if you are totally detached. That's the hard truth. some sense of ownership must be there to do things, at least to be responsible. When someone else comes to take over that seva, over a period of time, let's say a newer generation comes, in a better way or in a not so palatable way. Sometimes you could be honored that, okay, he or she has served for 20 years and now letting go of this service, someone else is taking up. Sometimes it may be so unceremonious. No one even recognizes so many years of seva done. So letting go means to have an ability that, it doesn't matter. I am anyways supposed to be a no. Do you know, in just about 60, 70 years, I'll tell about a 100% executed conspiracy which is being worked upon. 7 billion people of this planet are going to die in next 60, 70 years. What a big conspiracy. The entire system is going to get replaced. Every 100 years, 7 billion people will vanish. A new set of people will come. So if we have an ability to develop an expansive mind, then we can deal with these things. If we do not have an expansive mind, then the only reality is wherever we are indulging, that becomes our world. And we get broken. How did he or she or someone do this way? Because our world is so small, like Kupa Manduk, frog in the well. But expansive mind. So therefore these kind of sometimes things, they do help. The universe is vast, the creation is vast, infinite planets. The soul, the properties, and you start feeling then what is mine, At that moment you will also feel totally detached from what services you are doing. It feels worthless. And that's when you start then doing. So both are essential. When I have lot of ambitions, when I have lot of desires, I engage myself, knowing well that someone is going to replace me soon, and not with my calculations. It's going to happen some other way. When that happens, embrace it. You will cry, it will pain some time, but embrace it. So Bhagavatam speaks of a formula, how to embrace it. Brahmaji prays, Ridvak Vapur Bir Vidadan Namaste Jiveto Yo Mukti, with gratitude. Okay, an uncomfortable situation has happened. Just hold on to it. This is what exactly I need for my next growth. Hold on to it. Instead of running away from it and creating a shield and fighting against it in non-dharmic ways, just embrace that situation. Detachment will never be a process that you easily get detached. There is always a time when the detachment happens, there is some pain which will happen. Bhishma Dev cried. Arjun cried in his discharge of service. Kunti Maharani cried. None of these characters whom we read about, they had their own pains at the point of detachment. When Karma snatched Abhimanyu, or so many things happened. They cried. But then, because they had some understanding, okay, whatever has happened, focus on what is more to focus on. What has gone, that is not worthy of focus. The focus is the truth. Take shelter, take shelter. So we have been chanting one verse so many times in our hearings, readings, lectures and all. But sometimes we take it as theory. You know, this verse. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Eva Kevalam. Why does this word is again and again it mentions? Just yesterday I was telling someone. Someday we have to actually come to this understanding that this holy name, the holy name is the only true shelter. It's not a concept. And it's not a theory. Some people have lived and practiced it so nicely and they have achieved that complete the maturity in their deeper consciousness that actually that only is worthy of shelter. So when someone gives us a blow of disturbing or taking away of service through time or whatever, we have to remember this. Embrace it, that situation with gratitude. You will cry. Cry for a few days, no problem. Make it real. Cry and let that energy go. If you want to complain, okay, complain to someone. Complain not in a manner that the whole system gets disturbed. Instead of complaining, you can instead of complaining, I feel so bad, it happened to me. Cry with someone who can understand your situation. Not with the hope that you please reverse it. Make my authority back in place. No. Only if something really illicit is happening or wrong activities are happening, then it is different. But otherwise, we all know my time is now over, someone else is coming. But because I have never developed myself to take shelter of higher principles, I will hold on to the lower things. I cannot let go because I have nothing higher to hang on. Someone who has higher to hang on, he will just let go. There will be some inertia because you have been engaged for 20 years. Now you no longer can do it, but still some courage, you have to give it up. Some inconvenience. But let go. Till the point we come to this, that Harer Naam Eva Kevalam, till that point there will always be some pain. No problem. Cry, read the Bhagavatam verses. Cry, take shelter. Cry, seek proper counseling. It's fine. Krishna cried, right, when Abhimanyu was dead? Arjun cried when Abhimanyu was dead. He cried and went to Krishna. Krishna heard him. Next day he went back on duty. That is the only way. Earlier, when we talk about earlier type of vanaprasthas, at a certain age they could give up because they had cultivated higher values. Today people at 70, 80 cannot give up their positions. They are not contributing anything to that particular position at whatever age they are, but they cannot give up. Because you have been unsuccessful to cultivate the concept of taking shelter of Krishna. It's just a theory. Instead, I have taken shelter of all the positions. So I'm planning just satisfying myself with prestige and honor and all of that. So it will always drag us. Anyways, just embrace it. Even it is painful, just embrace it. At least I have tried to do that each time it has happened with me. Sometimes not ordinary people, sometimes those very people whom you love, whom you admire, whom you have looked upon, kind of who were the guides and mentors of your life, they themselves will cheat you and fraud you. It is possible in this world, anything is possible in Kali Yuga. Your entire spirituality gets tested to the core. That's where if you take shelter of Krishna and Shastra that time, that's where then Krishna also sees, oh, in such a difficult time, he is now seeking truth. Here, open the books in that way. I want to really read how Kunti took shelter of Krishna in her crisis. Then Krishna also gives you that shelter. Then you will develop a courage. Let the situation happen again. Let the rains and storms come. I will deal with it. Then becomes a game. Then you are actually a sadhak, you are a warrior playing in the battlefield of your karma. Otherwise, in secure domain, it doesn't happen. I spend a lot of time these days in New York, and each time when I go to that place of Prabhupada's, you have been to the Tompkins Square Park, that tree. Even today it is the same, 50 years ago. Sorry, I'm just explaining 2 more minutes. Even today it is so difficult to preach there. So difficult. And we are used to doing service in temples, including me. I come, someone comes to the airport to receive me. They arrange a room for me to stay. There is nice prasadam, Dwadashi, feast. There is such a nice place to discuss. Prabhupada had none of this at 70 years of age, and when he came, it was a winter season, onset of winter. But nothing discouraged him. We have been honored, facilitated in so many ways, but just one situation and we get totally discouraged. Totally. And we start doubting whether Krishna is there, whether these things work. Who is GBC, who is Guru, who is this, who is that? All those theories start coming from inside. Means I have not understood anything. We have not invested in the battlefield. We are taking shelter of sub-religious principles. I am not telling that temple is sub-religious, but the ashray, the shelter which we are taking, has to get into the core aspect sooner or later. We have to love tapasya. We have to love chanting. We have to love reading. If my attraction to these things are not happening, that means I am in a very precarious condition. My attraction to fundamental things must happen. That is a test. If that is in place, then the position also is okay. Service is also okay. Honor also okay, because those things are just there. I'm not dependent on it. But if these things are not there and I have the other things, that means I'm going to depend on these things. Then it is just a journey of pain. Then people give up association. They say, I have seen it all. What have you seen? You have just been in spirituality a few years and interacted with 4 or 5 devotees and you say, I have seen it all. Right? People say, they give up the whole process. See it all in the Bhagavatam. So many characters. They are ripped of their homes like Kunti. Ripped of their honor and lifestyle like Ajamil. Ripped of their childhood like Dhruva, Prahlad, even Narad. The innocence was just snatched away by karma right from child. They did not have time to play and enjoy their childhood in their secured society kind. Still they took shelter. So that is what is called reading. That is what is called learning. So unless we develop that, it doesn't work. Sooner or later, we all will be tested with this. And if we are speaking like this, like I am speaking, I will be tested for everything. But it becomes easy when you have become a warrior, because you know there is nothing to lose. Because what you gain is not gain at all in this world. There is nothing to gain, nothing to lose. All that matters is Harer Naam Eva Kevalam. Have I developed the tendency to take shelter of this? If that is there in place, nothing else matters. Granth-raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Apologies for an extension of 10 minutes. Hare Krishna.